In 1964, the biggest name in country music took out a full-page ad in Billboard magazine. He wasn't promoting a record. He was calling every disc jockey in America a coward because they refused to play a song about a war hero who died face down in a ditch.
In the back of that red.
And by the end of this video, you'll understand why he was willing to burn his entire career to make them listen. Welcome to Nashville Rewind, the channel where we dig up the country songs radio tried to bury and tell the stories behind them the way they deserve to be told. Tonight, 10 songs that were banned, blacklisted, or quietly smothered. 10 artists who paid the price for telling the truth. Let's count them down. Number 10, Webb Pierce. There Stands the Glass.
That will hide all my fears.
Today it sounds harmless. A man staring into a drink, trying to forget a woman. But in 1953, radio stations across America refused to touch it. Their reasoning? The song didn't condemn drinking. It understood it.
That will drown all my fears.
And in the buttoned-up world of post-war radio, sympathy for a drinking man was a step too far. Programmers called it barroom music. Some stations banned it outright. But here's what most people never realize.
Brother, I'm on my way.
Radio didn't control America's ears in 1953. Jukeboxes did. And in every honky-tonk, every truck stop, every roadside bar from Texas to Tennessee, working men were dropping nickels to hear a song that finally sounded like their own Friday nights.
I'm wondering where you are.
The band didn't kill the record. It made it forbidden fruit. There Stands the Glass climbed all the way to number 1 on the country charts and became Webb Pierce's signature song, the one he'd be remembered for above all others. The man radio rejected became the most played country artist of the entire decade. So rich, he built a guitar-shaped swimming pool
There stands the glass.
that became a Nashville tourist attraction. The stations that banned him spent the rest of the 50s playing everything else he recorded. But the song they feared most is the one that outlived them all. Number 9, Loretta Lynn, Rated X.
Everybody knows that you've loved.
Loretta wrote this one alone, in her own handwriting, about something nobody in Nashville would say out loud.
They think you'll love again.
What happens to a woman after a divorce? Not to the man. He walks away clean. But the woman, Loretta sang, gets a label stamped on her,
And have a male friend when you're a has-been.
like a warning on a movie poster. Rated X. Damaged goods. Fair game. She'd watched it happen to friends, to neighbors, to women in her own family.
For a woman, you're rated X.
And when she put it on record, radio flinched. Stations pulled it. Programmers said it was too suggestive, which was a polite way of saying it made men uncomfortable.
And if you're rated X,
But here's the twist they didn't see coming. The women listening didn't flinch at all. They called the stations. They requested it by name. They bought the single in droves.
you're some kind of gold, even men turning silver.
And Rated X went to number 1 in spite of every station that refused to play it. Here's the fact most people never hear.
But I think it's wrong to judge every picture.
Loretta Lynn is widely believed to hold the record for the most singles banned from country radio of any artist in the genre's history, and she wore it like a medal.
If a cheap camera makes a mistake.
She once said she wasn't singing anything the women in her audience weren't already living. Radio thought it was protecting its listeners. It never understood that its listeners were the ones Loretta was singing for,
And when your best friend's a husband says to you,
and she was just getting started, because the most banned song of her career is still coming later in this countdown.
I'm good, they should have known it.
Number 8, Garth Brooks, The Thunder Rolls, 1991.
Looking like a ghost town on a moonlit summer night.
The song itself made it to radio. It's the video they couldn't handle. Garth filmed a story of a cheating husband who comes home late in a storm and turns violent.
Raindrops on the windshield, there's a storm moving.
And in a decision that stunned Nashville, Garth played the abuser himself, hidden under a beard, so that audiences would feel the betrayal personally.
He's heading back from somewhere that he
The
never.
Nashville Network and CMT both banned the video outright. They demanded Garth add a disclaimer, softening it. He refused.
Never should have been.
He said if he watered it down, he'd be lying to every woman living that story in real life. So the two biggest country video outlets in America went dark on the biggest star in country music. And then something remarkable happened.
And the thunder rolled.
Domestic violence shelters started calling Garth's office, not to complain, to thank him. Counselors reported women citing the video when they finally reached out for help.
Every light is burning in a house.
And at the Academy of Country Music Awards the following year, the band video won Video of the Year. But here's the secret most fans never learned.
House across town.
The album version of the song isn't the whole story. There's a third verse, one Garth only performed live, where the wife reaches into the nightstand and ends the abuse herself.
She's pacing by the telephone in her faded front.
The label considered it too dark to release. So for years, the only way to hear the real ending was to stand in an arena and watch Garth sing it in the dark.
gown. Asking
Some truths were too heavy for radio. Garth sang them anyway.
for a miracle, hoping she's
Number 7. Kacey Musgraves, Follow Your Arrow.
But they'll call you a drunk. It's
On paper, it's a cheerful little song about living your own life. But buried in that sunshine was a line encouraging people to love who they love, including kissing girls if that's who you are.
soon as you down the first one.
And in 2013, mainstream country radio treated those words like a live grenade. Nobody issued a press release. Nobody announced a ban. That's not how modern radio works.
You can't lose the weight, then you're just fat.
They just quietly didn't play it. Station after station, market after market, the song was simply absent, and it stalled far down the airplay charts, while lesser songs sailed past it.
But if you lose too much, then you're on.
Kacey was told, politely and repeatedly, that she'd be bigger if she'd just sand off the edges. She refused, and here's the fact that makes this story sing.
Damned if you do, and you're damned if
She co-wrote it with Brandy Clark and Shane McAnally, two of the finest songwriters in Nashville, both of them gay,
you don't, so you might as well
both of them writing hits for other artists who would never say out loud what this song said plainly.
just do whatever you want.
For them, it wasn't provocation, it was autobiography. And then came the night that turned the whole thing upside down.
Make lots of noise, kiss.
At the 2014 CMA Awards, the industry's own voters, the very establishment whose radio stations wouldn't play the record,
Lots of boys, kiss lots of girls.
handed Follow Your Arrow the award for Song of the Year. The song Radio Buried was named the best song in country music. Kacey stood on that stage knowing the truth.
If that's something you're into.
Every artist on this list learned the hard way. Radio decides what gets played. It has never once decided what matters.
Straight and narrow gets
Number 6. Tim McGraw, Red Ragtop.
We were free of the folks, hiding from the cops.
Tim McGraw was untouchable in 2002. A decade of hits. Stadiums sold out. And then he released a quiet story song about two young lovers, a pregnancy, and a decision to end it.
Summer night, running all the red.
Told without judgment, without a lecture, just the ache of two kids, and the long shadow that choice cast over the rest of a man's life. Within days, the phone lines lit up.
We parked way out in a clearing in a grove in the night.
Listeners demanded stations pull it, and stations did, in market after market, dropping a guaranteed hitmaker mid-single,
Was as hot as a coal burning stove. We were
because one verse told a story half of America didn't want told. The label braced for Tim to back down, to issue the standard apology and move on. He didn't.
cooking with gas. Knew it had.
He stood in front of reporters and said the song wasn't an endorsement of anything. It was the truth about real life, and real life was what country music was supposed to be about.
That red rag.
Here's what most fans never knew. Tim didn't write it. A Nashville songwriter named Jason White did, and the song had been floating around town for years,
She said, please.
because no major artist had the nerve to cut it. Tim McGraw, with everything to lose, was the one who finally did.
Don't stop.
And despite the bans, Despite the boycotts, Red Ragtop still fought its way into the top 5. It remains one of the most quietly courageous singles a superstar has ever released at the peak of his fame. And the woman at number 5 made that same bet 30 years earlier, with far less power and far more to lose. Before we get to the top 5, here's the truth. Nashville Rewind exists for exactly these songs. The ones radio was too scared to play, and history was too careless to remember. If you believe these artists and these stories deserve to be heard, subscribing takes 1 second, and it tells us to keep digging, because the top 5 is where this list stops being about controversy and starts being about courage. Number 5, Loretta Lynn, The Pill. She told you she'd be back. Loretta recorded The Pill in 1972, a song about a wife who's done being pregnant every year of her married life. Because for the first time in history, medicine had given her a choice. Her label heard it and panicked. They didn't release it, they shelved it. For 3 years, the master tape sat in a vault while executives argued about whether America could survive a coal miner's daughter singing about birth control. When it finally came out in 1975, the reaction was everything they feared. Around 60 stations banned it outright. Preachers denounced it from the pulpit by name, and Loretta Lynn, a woman who'd been married at 15 and had 4 children before her 20th birthday, just smiled and said she was the perfect person to sing it. Because she'd lived every word before the pill existed. Then came the detail that turns this story into something bigger than music. Rural doctors began telling Loretta that her song had done more to explain family planning to isolated country women than all the pamphlets they'd ever handed out. A 3-minute banned record reached farmhouses no clinic ever could. And the final irony is the sweetest. The Pill became one of the biggest pop crossover hits of her entire career, pulling in listeners who'd never bought a country record in their lives. They banned her for singing about freedom, and the song walked right through the ban and set her free. Number 4, Martina McBride, Independence Day. Before Martina ever sang a note of it, this song was already an orphan. Songwriter Gretchen Peters had carried it around Nashville,
So I took myself down to the fair
and door after door closed on her, because nobody wanted a country single where an abused wife burns the house down with her husband inside. Too dark, too dangerous, unsellable.
on Independence Day.
Then a young singer with a voice like a storm siren heard it and refused to let it go. Martina fought for it, and when it finally hit the airwaves, radio did exactly what everyone had warned.
Well, word gets around in a small
Stations across the country refused to play it. Programmers said the arson made them queasy, that listeners driving to work didn't want to hear about a burning house and a little girl sent to the county home.
small town. They said he was a dangerous man.
And because of those quiet refusals, the song stalled at number 12 on the charts. Number 12. Remember that number, because here's the fact that says everything about how wrong radio was.
But Mama was proud and she stood her ground.
The song they wouldn't play won the CMA Song of the Year, and 3 decades later, it's not just remembered as Martina's signature song, it's routinely ranked among the greatest country songs ever recorded.
She knew she was on the losing end.
But the detail that will stay with you is this. The whole story is told through the eyes of the 8-year-old daughter, watching from the yard. Gretchen Peters wrote it that way on purpose, because children are the witnesses nobody protects.
Some folks whisper, some folks talk.
Radio heard a song about fire. Survivors heard a song about finally being seen. Shelters reported women who found the courage to leave because of it. Number 12 on the charts. Number 1 in Lives Changed.
But everybody looked the other way.
Number 3, Kitty Wells. It wasn't God who made Honky Tonk Angels. She was 32 years old, a preacher-quiet housewife named Muriel Deason, and she was ready to quit music entirely. Her career had gone nowhere. Then a session came up. An answer record to a hit song that blamed fallen women for the sins of honky-tonk life. This new song flipped it. It said plainly that unfaithful men had broken those women first. Kitty didn't expect a hit. She later admitted she recorded it mostly for the union session fee, about $125, grocery money for her family. What happened next changed country music forever. NBC's radio network banned the song as offensive, and the Grand Ole Opry, the sacred heart of the industry, forbade her from singing it on their stage. A housewife with a paycheck song had frightened the most powerful institutions in Nashville. But the audience had already decided. The record exploded, and Kitty Wells became the first solo woman in history to hit #1 on the Billboard country chart. Think about that. The first female #1 in country music history is a band record. Every woman who ever stood on a country stage after 1952, Patsy, Loretta, Dolly, Reba, all of them walked through a door that was kicked open by a woman the Opry tried to silence. Singing a song she almost didn't bother to record. They called her the Queen of Country Music for the rest of her life. The crown was forged in a ban. Number 2. The Chicks, Travelin' Soldier. In early March of 2003, Travelin' Soldier, a heartbreaking ballad about a lonely soldier who never comes home from Vietnam, was the #1 country song in America. 10 days later, it had virtually vanished from the airwaves, not because of anything in the song, because of 14 words. On a London stage, days before the invasion of Iraq, Natalie Maines told the crowd they were ashamed the president was from Texas. And country radio didn't just stop playing the single. Entire station groups blacklisted the biggest-selling female band in American history overnight. Stations held public rallies where fans threw their CDs into piles to be crushed. One station in Louisiana ran a tractor over them. In Colorado, 2 DJs were actually suspended by their own station just for playing a Chicks record. And it got darker. At a Dallas concert that summer, the band performed under a death threat considered credible enough that police escorted them to the stage. Here's the detail history keeps forgetting. The song being destroyed was an anti-war song only in the gentlest sense. It was written by Texas songwriter Bruce Robison years earlier, and it wasn't political at all. It was about a boy, a girl, a football game, and a folded flag. The most banned song of the modern country era is a love story. They didn't ban a protest, they banned grief. And country music has never fully reckoned with what it did to 3 of its own daughters in the span of a single week. Number 1. Johnny Cash, The Ballad of Ira Hayes.
The ditches 1,000 years, the waters grew Ira's.
This is where we started. Now hear the whole story. Ira Hayes was a Pima Native American from the Gila River Reservation in Arizona.
Frontiered and forgot the white man's greed.
A shy, gentle young man who joined the Marines and, on a February morning in 1945, helped raise the American flag on Mount Suribachi at Iwo Jima.
Call him drunken Ira Hayes.
The photograph became the most famous image of the entire war. Ira came home a hero, and it destroyed him. He was paraded across the country, toasted at banquets, pointed at in bars, while inside he was drowning.
He won't answer anymore.
He told people he couldn't feel like a hero when so many of the men beside him never came home. He drank to quiet it. And in January of 1955, at just 32 years old, Ira Hayes was found dead of exposure.
Not the whiskey drinking Indian, no.
Face down in the cold, beside an irrigation ditch on the same reservation where he was born. The water in that ditch was just about the only thing his people had been given.
The Marine that went to war.
A songwriter named Peter Lafarge turned that story into a song, and Johnny Cash recorded it on an album about the suffering of Native Americans.
Battled up Iwo Jima Hill.
Country radio refused to play it. Too political, too uncomfortable, too true. And Johnny Cash did something no star of his size had ever done.
250 men, but only 27.
He spent his own money on a full-page ad in Billboard and aimed it straight at every program director in America. He asked them, in print, "Where are your guts?" He accused them of being afraid of the truth and dared them to play the record.
Was over. And Old Glory
The industry was stunned. Advisors told him he was committing career suicide. Instead, the song fought its way to number 3 on the country charts, carried by listeners who heard it once and couldn't forget it.
among the men who held it high.
Here's the fact almost no one knows. Cash didn't just sing about Ira Hayes. He went to the Gila River Reservation himself, met Ira's family, and stood on the land where Ira died.
I was the Indian, Ira Hayes.
This was never a single to him. It was a promise that a man America used up and threw away would not be erased.
Drunken Ira Hayes, he won't answer.
60 years later, radio's ban is a footnote. Ira Hayes is remembered. Johnny Cash made sure of it. That's what one song and one stubborn man can do against an entire industry.
Anymore, not the whiskey drink.
10 songs, 10 bands, and not one of them stayed buried. Because here's the thing about the truth in three-quarter time. You can keep it off the radio, you can't keep it out of people's hearts.
Or the Marine that went to war.
If one of these stories hit you tonight, tell us in the comments which song radio was most wrong about. Because your answers decide what we dig up next.
Ira Hayes returned the hero.
And if you made it this far, you're exactly who this channel was built for. Subscribe to Nashville Rewind, where the band songs finally get their encore. We'll see you in the next one.
Celebrated through the land. He was wine.